Hey guys, welcome back to the Better Project. This episode, we've got Kai Taylor. How's it going, bro?
Yeah, good, man. Thanks for having me on.
All
Appreciate
good,
it.
man. We've been talking over messages for a few weeks, and I was just like, I've got to get this
Yeah.
guy on. You sound like you have an awesome story, man.
Cheers, man. It's not that good, I guess. We'll see.
Everyone has a story, mate.
Yeah, that's it.
So to give our listeners a bit of context, let's go back. What was a young Kai like? What was your upbringing?
Pretty much growing up, all I did was play soccer, to be honest. So probably since I was like 10 years old, I played, and that was literally like my dream. So all I wanted to do was become a professional soccer player. I played for the Vic team and all that growing up. And then as I got into my late teens, I actually went overseas and trialed with like a professional team in the Netherlands as well.
Oh shit, really?
Which was awesome. Yeah, like that was really cool. I went there with about 5 or 6 other players and a couple coaches. They sort of picked us, and one of the coaches who took us, he actually used to play over there professionally. Yeah. So we had a few contacts and stuff, and going over there was just crazy. Like all the kids in Europe are just absolute freaks at the game. We're like so far behind in Australia. So just playing up against them was like amazing. And one of the teams called me back for like a follow-up trial and stuff, which was pretty cool. So I went back there, and we went to like a tournament as well, and we played against a few other teams. And then there was actually a team in do you know much about soccer?
Not really.
Yeah. There's a team in Belgium. It's called Anderlecht or something like that, however you pronounce it.
Yep.
They're one of the best teams in Belgium, and they were actually trying to sign me and get me to go over there after year 12, and they were going to pay for everything. But that was back in like 2008. So the whole friggin' financial, the economic meltdown of the world happened. And then they said to mum and dad, look, we still want him to come over, but if you pay, we'll take him, sort of thing. And dad just lost his house in the market, lost pretty much all his money.
Fuck.
Couldn't afford to send me over. And he tells me this like 2 weeks ago. I was like, are you serious? Right. So for like, I'm 28 now. So for about 10 years, I didn't even know this happened. And then I just continued playing in Australia. And then eventually, your age catches up to you, and then injuries catch up to you. And then I just pretty much retired.
Right, you would have been as I was retiring, missing out on that opportunity to play over there.
Yeah, literally. Like when he told me just recently, I was like, what the hell? How can you even tell me this before? Not that I would have been able to do anything, but it was just crazy. And then probably the last few years of playing soccer, I just sort of started, looking at what else I wanted to do in life. I knew I didn't want to just work a regular job, which is what I'm doing now, ironically. But I knew that one day I wanted to do like my own thing. And, when you're a kid and you just have the one goal your whole life, especially wanting to play soccer, you don't really have any other ideas. So I started getting inspired a lot by people who were just doing their own thing. So I was looking at like athletes, musicians, and then like business people started to like pique my interest a bit. So I started reading like lots of books, like, Steve Jobs' book and all these other entrepreneurs. And I was like, wow, these people are like amazing. They've literally just created, what they want to create. They've made these cool brands. And playing soccer, I was always like a real creative player. So I love that aspect of it. And growing up, I used to write books and draw a lot, which I don't do anymore. But I also thought that I was quite creative as well. So I wanted to sort of try and do something creative too. And I was like, I don't want to work a regular job. I want to do something that's cool. So I started reading all these books and then just sort of, dabbling into business slowly. And then the first business I started, I was, I don't know, probably early 20s. I started a sock company. So I used to wear crazy socks every day, and people always were like calling me the sock guy. And they were like, oh, someone said to me, why don't you sell socks? And I was sort of thinking about the idea of it, but I was like, I don't know how to sell socks. Like, what the hell? I don't know how to start a company. I didn't know anything. And I was just Googling heaps of stuff. And then eventually I got to a point where I figured it out. And I ran the idea past a few people, and everyone was kind of just like, oh, like I'm sure, when you say you're going to start like a podcast or whatever, people probably just go, oh,
people don't believe you.
Cool. Yeah. They're just like, oh, cool. Like they don't actually believe you.
Yeah.
And then one guy was like really keen. He's like, yeah, that's awesome. Let's do it. And I was like, sweet, this is awesome. So me and this guy, we sort of teamed up, and, he didn't know what he was doing either. So there was just two of us with no idea what we're doing. And we eventually just figured out how to, find a product and just started selling it online.
Did you go straight to China, or did you get them made here?
Yeah, I went to China. Went through about 50 different suppliers, I
I heard
reckon.
that's the
So
biggest mistake starting out, bro. Going straight to China.
yeah, it's so bad. I literally have like 100 pairs of socks, just different ones. They're like, some of them are like this big, some of
Yeah.
them are this big, and some wear like have a hole in them after one wear. They're just so shit. But we eventually found a really good supplier in China. So, a lot of trial and error. But once we got there, it was good. So we started using them. And then I was like, all right, I want to use Australian made products. And then we found a supplier in Australia. So we kind of had a bit of a mixture. And then we just sort of, we looking back, it's pretty funny. Like we sold, maybe like 1,000 pairs of socks or something, which
That's
isn't
not
too
bad.
bad, but yeah, it wasn't bad, but I reckon mum sold probably half of them for me. She was like hustling all her friends at work and stuff. But like literally looking back compared to the stuff I know now, I had no idea. Like didn't know how to market on Instagram, didn't know how to do Facebook ads, or didn't know how to, do anything really. It was kind of just winging it. And then we were probably doing that for about a year, and it got to a point where we decided to make a t-shirt.
Yep.
So like I liked socks because I thought it was like a blank canvas that you could put a design on. And then I saw a t-shirt and was like, that's also a blank canvas that you can put a design on. So I figured, why don't we just put like a design on a t-shirt as well? So me and this other guy were doing it with, he's like, yeah, cool, let's do it. So we teamed up with a designer who I've actually had on my podcast as well. Yep. His name's Chris Costa. He's a real cool guy. And he made this awesome design that had like a spaceship, like a UFO and all this crap. And I was like, that's sick. So we released this t-shirt and it literally sold out in like a week. And I was like,
that's
wow,
awesome.
I was like, what the hell? Like it was only small numbers, but it was still like really cool.
Yeah.
And I was like to my business partner, we made a t-shirt. It sold out in like a week. Why don't we do some more? And he was like, oh, I want to be like a sock company. And our name was Boom Soccer Locker.
What a name.
Yeah. So, pretty funny. But it was catchy at least.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's like, yeah, we're a sock company. We can't just be selling clothing and that. And I was like, yeah, I understand, but we sold a t-shirt in a week and it's just, another layer to our business we could add. And he just wasn't keen and I was super keen. And we kind of had a few other indifferences at the time as well. And it's sort of just, there's a lot of indifferences, miscommunications, kind of like, a bad relationship just kept getting worse and worse. And then we eventually decided to end it as a business, and none of us sort of wanted to continue the business as well, which is a bit of a shame.
Why is that?
Well, I sort of wanted to at the start, but he was like, no, I don't want you to like take over and, grow it into something big without you. And I was part of it. Yeah, I know.
That's stupid.
And then I was like, all right, you can have it then if you want, but you got to like pay for all the stuff off me. And he didn't want to do that. So I was like, well, this is just going to die, which is a bit of a shame. So that's what happened. And I had like heaps of socks just left over. So, the last few years have been good. I've just been like, never had to buy socks.
That's awesome.
Which is a plus side. But there's still like at my parents' house, there's still a massive tub of just socks. So but these things happen. I guess you learn from it. Anyway, I was still really keen to do like clothing and t-shirts and explore that. So I pretty much just decided as soon as that ended, within a few weeks, I had a clothing company I set up, which I called Kai & Co.
Yeah.
So obviously my name and Co, everyone else. And I just set that up and was doing it by myself. And I loved that because I found it with a business partner. I just found it like I was still an employee to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Like even if you're making all the decisions and you're choosing which direction you want to go in, you sort of have to run it by your partner.
Yeah, you still have to answer to them and that.
Yeah. And it was kind of annoying. And towards the end of our like business relationship, I was kind of just doing it anyway without running it by him.
Yeah.
And that's like, the communication was pretty bad from both of us. So, looking back, I should probably have still tried to include him, and he probably drifted off a bit and didn't feel as included. So he wasn't inputting as much, and it was kind of both our faults. But when I was working by myself on Kai & Co, I was just loving how I could just do anything I wanted. So
the freedom.
I could take like the freedom was awesome. And that's what I wanted when I initially got into business. Like I was still doing it as a side hustle, but when I was doing the business work, it felt completely free. Like I could literally just after work, if I wanted to take a photo, I could take a photo and post it straight away without approval or anything. And it was just awesome.
Were you designing all the shirts or you had someone else doing it for you?
At the start, I was doing it. And the first few ones were pretty like average. They were just like little logos. But I had this really cool like monkey that I called Jerry.
Yeah.
And he was like the mascot. So I wanted to build like a brand that was like really revolved around this one character.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to have like all these designs that were like kind of stories and stuff. So eventually I did get a designer to help create some stuff for me. And I did Kai & Co for about a year and a half or so. And then I eventually stopped doing that. But yeah, I had so many designs that I never released as well. And it was just another thing, like I was still learning how to, you know, price products, make a profit. I found like I was always getting in products and I'd sell like 80% of them, but then the other 20% I couldn't get rid of. And then I had to chip in more of my own money to get new stock. And it was kind of like a cycle like that.
So is that why you stopped due to financial or?
Yeah, like financially I was struggling to like push it anywhere without just fully investing into it all the time. And like I still didn't know how to run like Facebook ads or anything like that. So I still learned a lot, I think, but definitely now, like what I've learned from finishing Kai & Co, I then went on to do another brand, which was selling watches. And what I learned in that little transition was like far more than I'd learned over the previous like 4 or 5 years of trying to do it all by myself. Like, you know how they say you always need to find like a mentor and look up to your mentor. And yeah, like 100% for anyone listening that's wanting to do anything, that's 100% true. Because I didn't have that at the start. I was just doing it all by myself. And I don't know, like, I don't know if it was, I didn't think it was because I was just trying to do it by myself. It's just because I literally didn't know.
Yeah.
So like I was just naive, I reckon. And then, you know, you'll be connecting with more people as you go along on your journey as well. And the more people you connect with, you just find that you're learning so much more.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, like literally I could learn something from you, which you'd be like, what the hell? That's amazing. How did I learn that? Or vice versa. So yeah, I was sort of struggled a bit with Kai & Co. And then I just sort of felt a bit burnt out as well. Like it was kind of frustrating that like I felt like I had all these good ideas that I wasn't able to implement properly because I couldn't afford to bring in all this new stock, and I didn't want to have heaps of stock sitting around just like I did with the socks. So I kind of was like looking to just have a bit of a break. So I had a bit of a break, and then me and another friend who was interested in getting into business, he was like dabbling with drop shipping and stuff like that. We started talking a fair bit. And then he found a mentor online. His name's Eli Dangerfield. I've actually had him on my podcast as well.
Okay. Yep.
And yeah, really, really successful. Like he's 21 and, you know, he's already like a millionaire. He's built this cool as watch company, and then he's got his own coaching company as well with like over 1,000 students or something in there, something crazy like that. And we paid for his course, and it sort of just taught us everything, like how to set it up, how to start, how to source products, how to like, you know, post on social media. So a lot of that I sort of knew from just learning myself, but then the key was like how to do Facebook ads, and I'd never actually done that before.
Yeah, it gives you a step-by-step on how to do it.
Yeah, like he was literally showing videos of what to do, how to set up a campaign, everything, like how to pick the right image, how to test all this stuff. And
it's actually quite technical, isn't it? Like it's easy, but it's like there's so many little steps that you have to do.
Yeah, like once you learn what you're doing, it's pretty easy, and like it can be super easy.
Yeah.
At the start, you're like, what the hell is going on?
And it's so much testing as well.
Yeah, like sometimes you run like 3 ads that are identical, and then the only difference is like the photo will be different. And then you want to see which photo is, you know, getting a better result, or like which is more attention grabbing and stuff like that. And just watching this part of the whole training was worth all the money. And I was like, far out. If I knew this like 4 years ago, it'd be a whole different story. And so we decided we wanted to sell a product which was like a high perceived value, but you could get for relatively cheap. Because with clothing you can't really create like ridiculously high unless you're like a high end brand. And actually getting good quality clothing is expensive too.
Especially in Australia. Like for what you pay and then what you try to sell it for, it's like there's not much profit.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you sell it for a high price, people are not going to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you're starting out, because they're like, "Who are you?" sort of thing. And I can get like a Nike t-shirt
for $50. Like, come on.
Yeah, and they're like, I can get 2 Nike t-shirts for half that. And Nike is obviously way more reputable than
but then people don't understand Nike fucking make 2 billion shirts where we're making like maybe 50.
Yeah, exactly. Like people don't understand that either. So there's just heaps of that stuff. So I wanted to make a product which was like, you know, there's a huge profit margin, and even if you did sell it for cheaper than your competitors, you're still going to make a lot of money. So we just decided to do watches as well. And Eli, whose course we did, he has a watch company too. And he was always saying, you know, if any of my students want to do watches, just do it. Like it's like a blueprint right here for you. And there's a whole bunch of his students who sell watches, and, you know, it's fine. They're not like direct competitors or anything. Everyone's doing their own sort of unique way. So me and this other guy, we just started our own watch company. We called it Slade Taylor, which was like a mix of his first name, my last name.
Yep.
And yeah, we sort of ran that at the end of last year over the Christmas period. We tested a bunch of Facebook ads, and it went really well. Like all the revenue we made in those few months was more than I'd made combined with any of my businesses over a few years, just from running ads and stuff. And I kind of just felt like each business I try, it just gets better and better.
Yeah, slowly building.
The knowledge I get. Yeah. So, and it's easier. It's easier to start. It's easier to promote. It's easier to manage my time. I know what I'm doing. I'm not just sort of like early on, I used to just work. But I look back and I'm just thinking, what was I actually achieving? Like I had no like to-do list. I had no flow. I didn't know what I was doing. And sort of as I get older and learn more, I'm sort of learning how to focus on one task at a time and smash through each one. Anyway, we're doing the watches for a bit, and then kind of just the same similar situation to my first business with the business partner. It's kind of just not working out as a partnership. And me and Slade were really good mates as well. So I didn't want it to get like sour between us because with my first business partner, it did get pretty sour. And, you know, it could have got sour with me and Slade as well. Like any situation that doesn't work can easily get sour. But I feel like this time around I was a lot more mature in how I could handle my emotions. And we just talked it through. Like the first time with my other business partner, we didn't talk about it. We kind of just let it implode. So me and Slade really, we just sat down and we talked about it and tried to decide what we were going to do with the business. We couldn't decide if one of us should take it or whatever. And in the end, we sort of just decided to end that as well, which was a bit of a shame.
I've seen some pictures of those watches. They looked pretty sick.
Yeah, like thanks, man. They were just really, really like clean cut, kind of classy, and the whole vibe we were trying to build was like a lifestyle brand. And I found that really like fun doing that because, you know, our logo is a palm tree, and every time I see a palm tree, I'm just inspired to go travel and you know, live up. So seeing that every day and posting photos every day of palm trees and paradise and watches, I was like, this is so cool. Like it's inspiring me every day. So it was a shame that ended, and it was a good product. We're like unlike with my clothing, like I could make heaps of sales in clothing, but I wouldn't necessarily have enough money to, you know, release a new range or put into marketing. Whereas with the watches, we had more than enough to put into marketing or get new designs, get new samples, stuff like that. So, that was a shame to sort of end it. And then
talk to me for a second. How much does it cost to actually make a watch, and what were you selling them for?
So for us, we were getting ours to probably like fully custom. So you got like the little second hand. We had it customized. We had a palm tree as a second hand. We had our logo on it. We had like on the back of the watch, we had our logo, and then we had like the box, which was all personalized and stuff. Probably getting it for like around $20, $23 ish.
Oh, really? That's all right.
And you can get it for a lot cheaper as well. Some people get theirs for like $10, $15, or cheaper even, depending on how many they order.
Was that being made here or China as well?
That's in China as well. But with China, with sort of the watches are like good quality, I found, compared to like clothing and stuff. So like we got samples, and with the samples, Slade actually made a video where he was like full smashing the watch with a hammer and stuff. It wasn't breaking. And, like,
Oh, really?
and we were like, damn, these watches are sweet.
Mm.
So yeah, we sold them. We sold them for about $180. Oh, that was the full price, but we always had like discount codes flying about, or our ads always had a discount code. So
still a nice average order value.
Yeah, our average order value was probably like 140, I'd say, roughly. So what's that? $120 profit per watch kind of thing. Yeah, maybe a bit less if you take out shipping and stuff. But yeah, it's about $100 probably.
Fuck, spewing that business went under as well. It seemed like it was doing well.
Yeah, it was. It's going real well. And like a lot of people were starting to talk about it, and like, you know, people message you and ask you about it, which is cool. But then again, learning all of that as well was just like amazing. So yeah, then when that ended, I was kind of like, oh, this sucks. I don't really know what to do now, but I still want to do something. And at the time I was also, you know, really heavily investing in like personal development, because my ex-girlfriend, so we broke up probably a few months ago, but last year when we were dating, she was always complaining about how I was like working too much, you know, and like not spending enough quality time with her.
I feel the pain.
Yeah, I think I've heard you talk about that on when you had Ice on your show.
Yeah.
I think you asked me a question about it. Yeah. So like a lot of people I talk to have the same issue. It's quite funny because she actually has her own business now, which is really killing it. Like more than I've ever killed it. So she started hers probably like a year and a bit ago. So I helped her set it up and sort of get her feet going. But
is it clothing or what is it?
No, she sells little crystals, like, you know, little rocks and yeah, you've seen it, like there's heaps of girls, a few guys, but most of the girls online are just going nuts for that stuff. So she sells them and like she's killing it now. So her business is doing more per month than I was doing, like with all the watches and stuff over a few months kind of thing. So she's really taken off. But it's funny because when I sort of started putting more effort into myself and like trying to be present and spend more time with her, her business just went nuts. So we kind of switched ends at the scale.
She had no time to do that.
yeah. And then when I was doing nothing, I was kind of like, fuck, what do I do? And she was just flat out. So I was helping her a fair bit. But yeah, it's just funny how like sometimes that can change. But the last few months I've sort of been trying to figure out what to do and hadn't really known what to do. You know, so I just sort of tried to invest in a few coaches, like mindset coaches. So like Tim Spears, who we've spoken about before. So he's helped me a lot as well. And then I sort of just figured, in the meantime, I want to just do something I've always wanted to do. I've got plenty of time, and that was a podcast. So I just decided to start a podcast, which I've been doing for a couple of months now, sort of like as a hobby, which you can tell by how inconsistent I post episodes. And then, I'm sort of working on a new e-commerce business at the moment, but I won't reveal what it is just yet. I might tell you off air.
Yeah, sweet.
But I found another mentor as well to help me out, so which is really cool. And this guy, he owns a massive skincare brand in Melbourne, and they're doing like millions per year in revenue. So I've been working with him for about a week or two, and in that short amount of time, it's just what I've learned is amazing. So again, if you want to start something, find a mentor and like invest in it, because you'll learn so much in that short amount of time. So that's pretty much where we are now.
Yeah. So talk to me about Tim Spears. How did you come across him, and like how'd that connection come about?
Yeah. So I think there's a guy I know, like just like as a mutual friend that I saw on Instagram, and I think he like posted a video or, you know, commented on something. I just sort of saw it pop up just randomly. And I sort of checked it out, and I was like, it was like, you know, on Tim's account, how he's got like his retreats that he's filmed.
Yeah.
Seen them? Yeah, it was that video. I don't know how it popped up, to be honest, but I was watching it, and then I think I watched it, and then I saw a guy that I knew, and I was like, what the hell? This guy's like kind of local, I guess. Like he's from Melbourne. I'm from Ballarat, which is about an hour or so.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, he's sort of like close by, and there's people I know who have attended. That's pretty cool. So I sort of watched it for a bit, and yeah, I think I literally just started liking his stuff and maybe commenting on his stuff, or I like to react to people's like stories a fair bit. I think that's a good way to connect with someone.
Yeah.
You sort of like send them, you know how you got like the little emojis you can react with. I always do that. And if they sort of like respond back, I try and...
So you start a conversation, yeah.
yeah, you just start a conversation, or you do that a few times and then they might do it back to you. And yeah, it's just a good way to connect. I think it's sort of less intimidating. I think I just did that and we started talking, and I think he had a story or like a giveaway for like a free coaching call or something along those lines. And I commented on it, and then he messaged me saying, "Hey man, like congrats, you're eligible for my coaching. Like we should have a chat." And I was like, cool. And at the time I was actually looking for a mindset coach. Like I'd spoken to a few other guys in Melbourne as well. I think they're from Melbourne. Yeah, as well. So I think I spoke to Tim first, and it was awesome. Like really good chat. We connected really well. And he's just like, have you spoken to him before?
Yeah, I have. I'm trying to get him on the podcast actually.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got him on mine, and he was freaking.
I listened to that one.
Yeah, so good. Well, you know what it's like when you talk to him, he's just so like down to earth, and he really knows how to like connect with you. And I found we just had this really good connection, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. And he sort of, at the time I was doing watches, so he was kind of helping me with that and just helping me like line up my goals and like time management and just like that belief. Because, you know, you sort of believe in yourself, but then deep down you sort of don't. And I think I've had a big issue with not fully believing in myself. Yeah. Even like back when I was playing soccer, like I had a lot of people say, oh yeah, you're going to make it one day, blah, blah, blah. And you're sort of confident, like, yeah,
then down deep you have this little chap in your ear saying, are you really going to do that?
Yeah, exactly. And I think my biggest, like in soccer in particular, my biggest fan was always my dad.
Yeah.
So when he was like telling me, trust me, you're going to make it. Trust me, this, you're the best, blah, 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 blah. I was always just like, I don't know. Like I've seen you like watch footy and stuff, and you're pretty biased. So I don't know if it's just.
It's like you're my dad. You have to say this.
Yeah. So I don't think I ever fully believed it. And even now, like hearing that story of how like a professional team was trying to sign me, I'm thinking, what the hell? Like, really, kind of thing. Like I still struggle a lot with that. And I think I acknowledged that I didn't fully believe in myself. And even my ex-girlfriend always said it to me. She's like, you just need to believe more in yourself. Like, I feel like you don't fully believe in yourself, even though I try and act like I do. So I was like, I need a mindset coach that can help me shift that perspective and really believe in myself. So yeah, connected with Tim. And then I was talking to these other mindset coaches as well in Melbourne. And like they were cool as well. But like when I got to the end of the conversation with them, they were trying to like sell me their course like straight away, like straight off the bat. And they were sort of like trying to press me, like, just give me a few $100, lock it in, we'll do this, blah, blah. And I was kind of like, oh shit, I was really like enjoying this chat until then. Like I kind of feel pressured into it. And I actually did give him $100 or whatever it was. And I was like, afterwards I just felt really shit. And then I was like, I messaged Tim and I was like, oh dude, I spoke to another mindset coach and like, it was really cool. Is it bad to have a few mindset coaches? And Tim was just like, oh, whatever you feel, man. But at the end of the day, like you just got to be comfortable with who you're talking to. You can have a few coaches, that's fine. But if you have too many, it might be a bit confusing.
Yeah.
And I said, they sort of forced me into buying like their course kind of thing. And I wasn't ready. And he's like, oh, well, how do you feel about that? And I said, oh, I don't really like it. And he's like, well, there you go. There's your answer. So I kind of reached out to those other guys and were like, I'm not really interested. Yeah. And then just went on with Tim. And like, I had like 5, 6, 7, 8 even conversations with Tim. And then I eventually went into one of his courses, but and no, like he didn't ask me to sign up or anything. Like it was I kind of said to him, dude, do you want me to start paying you? Like, you've given me so much time. And he said no. Like, I reckon we spent like a total of 6 hours over like a month or so talking, and like he didn't want any of my money. And I was like, wow, this guy is like amazing. Like he's actually really willing to help you. So then
what'd you get out of all those calls that you had with him?
So a lot of it was just like believing in yourself as well. That was one of them. So like I was saying before, I had that really had trouble believing in myself. So when I was starting the watch brand, I was kind of like, our watches are cool, but like, are they that cool? Like, are they really going to be like stand out? So he sort of like inspired me to just, whatever you're doing, just go with it 100%. Don't ever doubt it. And I think a lot of that was probably it was hard to sort of see the results of that in that brand, but definitely in my podcast, you'll be able to see those results because I've always wanted to do like a podcast, but it's the same thing. Like I'm sure you know as well, you're kind of thinking, is anyone going to listen? Who really cares what I have to say? Even at the start of this episode, I said, oh, I don't think my story's that good. Like that's
like you doubted yourself straight away. I was like, Come on,
Yeah,
man.
I know, and I shouldn't do that. Like, it's so bad. And it's again, it's something I'm still working on, and I think I'm getting a lot better at it. But like, if you asked me like a year ago to come onto your show, I would have just said like no straight away
Bro, I wouldn't have even
because I would
asked
have
you a
been,
year ago. I wouldn't, bro.
yeah,
I
there
couldn't
you
talk to
go.
anyone a year ago.
Yeah, and there you go. Like you've said you're like really introverted, but
Mm.
like you've come so far, and it's crazy. And I think a lot of that was come from Tim. So when I started my podcast, I kind of just was like, you know, I don't actually care what anyone thinks. I'm just gonna record a podcast and put it out, and I've just been able to do that. And I think my confidence now is definitely a lot higher. I have a lot more
Yeah.
self belief. There's obviously a bit of self doubt in there, and I'm sure a lot of hyper successful, confident people will have that to some extent anyway. But it's constantly developing, and just like I don't know, I feel like as well, just talking to Tim, it's kind of like a good way to just express how you feel about certain parts of business or parts of your life, because I've never really had anyone to talk to. I don't really know too many people who are like that entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Really, like I connect with a few here and there on Instagram, but so just actually having someone's voice, it's kind of just like pushing you. Like he's sort of just telling you what you're doing is right, and just keep focusing on it every day. And if you like he taught me a lot about how to focus on just setting a goal and sticking to that goal. Because before I was like all over the shop,
Yeah.
like trying to do everything. Even with, I didn't mention before, even with the watches, me and Slade, when we were doing watches, we were also trying to start like a social media marketing company at the same time. So we're literally working full-time jobs, and we're trying to start two companies, and we've never succeeded with starting one company. Like absolutely outrageous. Like, although I have a few issues of confidence every now and then, my optimism is just like ridiculous. So
Were you trying to get quick success, or you just felt it was cool to do that?
we just felt like we could do it.
Yeah.
Like we were just trying to make the ultimate life as quick as possible. And it's like, it's so weird. Like I don't even understand it. Like my optimism is so high, but then my actual self-belief backing it is like so far behind it. So with Tim, it's kind of like that optimism is still ridiculously high, but it's just catching up. My self-belief's catching up to that, which is good. But he also helped me realize that, you know, if you're trying to start two companies at the same time and you've never succeeded with starting one, it's going to be ridiculously hard, almost impossible. In most cases, it would be impossible. So he helped me really narrow my focus on doing one thing at a time, which is what we did. So we scrapped that other idea. And after just scrapping that idea, we were focusing on watches, and that was over the Christmas period. And then our sales went like through the roof kind of thing. And I was kind of, he also taught me a lot about like meditation and manifesting and stuff like that too. So I don't know if you're big in that stuff.
I do it every now and then. The meditation, I can't quite do it. My mind just fucking keeps going, eh?
Yeah. It's so hard. Like, and I'm not that consistent with it at the moment, but I try to be as much as I can. But just with manifesting as well, it's kind of like he had me doing this morning routine, which really built my confidence. Like you'd express your gratitude, and then you'd write down like goals for the day. So even just having goals for the day, I was like, fuck, I've never written my goals down for the day. I'll just wake up and like go to work and come home and try and figure out what to do. Whereas when you're writing what you're going to do down, you're like, I know exactly what I need to do.
And when you tick them off, how good is that feeling, eh?
Yeah, you're like, fuck, tick, tick, tick. I've got like a calendar behind my computer here.
Yeah.
I've got like my goals. You know, I've got like a Sunday goal. I got a 5-year goal, a 1-day goal, 1 year goal, a monthly goal, a weekly goal, and a daily goal kind of thing, just broken down. And all that sort of come from him just helping me. So it's like, it just gives you like a clear picture of where you're going. And even if you don't achieve those goals, you still know if you're going in that right direction. So just that goal setting aspect from Tim as well was amazing. And then just learning how to manifest like positivity and positive reinforcement. And like, you know, a lot of athletes talk about manifesting, a lot of celebrities, even Drake has this interview where he's talking about his new house in, where does he live? Canada somewhere. And he was saying how when he was younger, he was driving around with a chick and he drove past a house and he said to her, you know, I'm going to manifest that house one day. And she was just like, yeah, whatever. And you're living in a house right now. Like if someone like him can say that, then I 100% believe that's
anything's
true.
possible, man.
Exactly. And people who, if you say that to someone and they say straight up, that's bullshit. Like you just, like you just have to look at their life and see, like, a lot of people who think that's bullshit haven't achieved what they want to achieve in life. And it kind of shows, or maybe there's a link between those two. So, and it was like an example of it where me and Slade were like running some ads for our watches, and we needed like $1,000 because our ads account, like, so with Facebook ads, you can like spend a certain amount of money and then it'll like sort of max out. And then you get charged for it.
Yeah.
But our bank account at the time, we got charged and we didn't have like the money for it. So we had like 2 days to get like $1,000.
Shit.
And we were like, he was like stressing. He's like, shit, what do we do? How do we get this money? And I was like, all right, I got this. Let me think of something. Let me manifest something. So I like, you know, I just relaxed. I tried to like be positive, and I was like, all right, I'm going to make over $1,000 in 2 days. Easy. No worries. So what's that? Like over 10 watches kind of thing. And this was pretty early. This was before we were like getting good at it. And I'm like, sweet, we can do this. So I like wrote down a plan. I was like, all right, let's just do a flash sale. I sort of like structured it. I focused on it. I got it done. We launched a flash sale a couple hours later. And then we like later that night, we made like $800 in like 2 hours or something. So like 8 or 9 watches or whatever it was. Yeah, just really quick off the bat. And then Slade was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like we've almost covered that in like a few hours. We've still got like, you know, a day and a half left. We're going to do it easy. And I was like, I told you, man, I told you this would happen. I manifested it happening. Like even just that small example. And I was like messaging Tim, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm not surprised. Like this stuff happens all the time. You just got to like think of a goal, manifest it, and do the work to get there. You can't just sit there and like expect it to fall in your lap. So
the mind is crazy, man. What you can do with it, man. And it brings, if you can bring so much stuff to existence as long as you put the work in as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I love, like, that's why I really look up to athletes and like musicians and stuff, because particularly athletes, like you're an athlete too. Like, you know, before you play a game, you're thinking about the game in your head. You're going through scenarios, and like sometimes when you got the ball, you just naturally do something because you've already done it in your head and you just know how to.
Or you do that exact play in a dream the night before, and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just crazy like how the mind works like that. And I always just like, even before soccer, I'll just always be like thinking about the game in my head, and I'll be like, all right, I'm going to get the ball here. I'm going to like play it off here. I'm going to turn here, whatever it was. And every time the ball came to you, you just knew what you were going to do because you've played it through your head. Again, you've like sort of like manifested it into happening kind of thing. And another good example as well is like when you're in a real negative frame of mind, everything's negative. Exactly. And you're thinking, oh, what next? This is going to happen now. And it just keeps happening and happening. Yeah. So it's like, I was never really negative, but like when Tim was teaching me about manifesting stuff and being positive and positive reinforcement, it was just like a good example to go to. And just, you know, if you've been in a situation where you've been negative for a bit of time and everything sucks, then why don't you try it the other way and see how it works? And just trying that and applying that's been really good. So yeah, that's sort of all the stuff I learned from Tim, and it's been good.
Yeah, he has a great story as well. Like
confidence.
I listened to his story, and where he's come from to where he is now, man, just shows anything is possible.
Yeah, like because he was like at rock bottom at one point, and then he just changed his mind completely. So, and if he didn't, you know, manifest a good life and all of that stuff, then who knows where he'd be, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
do you read books at all?
Yeah, massively. I was reading like a book a week just recently, but the last 2 weeks have been a bit slower. But yeah, I'm always reading like, you know, at least every day kind of thing.
Yeah. So, what's the top 3 books you've read?
Have
you read Atomic Habits?
Actually, that's in my bag right now. Where is it?
That's an awesome book.
Yeah, I was about to start that today, actually. Hang on, I'll grab it. Oh no, it's in my shelf. Don't worry. Anyway, yeah, I was going to start that today. But I decided to do. I'm reading "Becoming Supernatural" by Joe Dispenza at the moment.
Okay, yeah, I have heard that. That's on my list to read as well.
Yeah, that's. I've just started, so I can't really comment too much. But my top 3, number 1 is, I think it's called "Finding Happiness" with the Dalai Lama.
Okay,
so that book is like amazing. Like it just teaches you how to like show compassion towards other people, sort of understanding why other people act in a certain way. And it's kind of, since reading that, I feel like I've just been like so much more calm, being able to just process my emotions differently. And I actually read that book after me and my girlfriend broke up as well. So it was like a shit time. So reading that book was really like important to me because it helped me really process like the breakup and sort of come out on the other side a lot more positive and a lot happier, and understanding that, you know, is like as shit as it feels to be alone and, you know, you feel a bit rejected and lonely and sad, it's actually not that bad. It's actually a good opportunity to grow. So that was awesome. Exactly. The next best book I've read is Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins.
That's the one I'm reading now, I think.
Yeah, actually, that is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good book so far.
I reckon, when did I read that? I reckon I read that. Yeah, that book, I think I read that as I started my first company kind of thing. So that was kind of what really, like, that optimism I had. It was like, it sort of made me believe it a bit more kind of thing. Like, obviously there was heaps of self-doubt at the start. It's like, who's this kid? I don't know shit about a business. Whereas reading that, it's kind of like, you know, you can sort of train your mind to do anything. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to just give it a crack. And that sort of gave me the confidence to actually try and do it, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who want to start a business and they're like got these cool ideas, but they don't actually, they might be super confident people, but they don't actually have that belief to get it going.
Fear of failure. That's what I believe.
Yeah. Fear of failure. You probably, and when you started your podcast as well, you're probably like in the same boat.
Yeah.
Sort of like, were you tossing up the idea for a while?
So I started off vlogging, and then all like people that I follow, they do podcasts, and I listen to them myself. I was like, this would be cool. I thought about it for a few weeks and I was like, fuck it, I'll just do it.
Yeah, there you go.
And at the beginning, I was like, are people actually going to listen to this? And then I started getting feedback. I was like, wow, this is actually cool. So I just keep growing it.
Yeah. And when you get feedback, how good is it?
Yeah, it's fucking awesome feeling, man.
Yeah. But like that moment you're talking about, that fuck it moment, that's like, that moment for me only came from that book, because it was kind of like, you know what, I can do this. Like, if anyone can do it, I can do it. So that book was amazing.
You realize you got nothing to lose.
Exactly. You may as well try it, because if you don't, if I never tried any of that stuff, where would I be right now? Like,
exactly.
I could potentially have the same job as I have now, but all the stuff I've learned, I wouldn't
have that life experience.
Yeah, all those experiences. And this next venture I'm doing, I see a good quote today, actually. It's like, you can spend 4 years of your life working like a dog and getting no results. And then in the 5th year, you could become the world's best.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing.
You hear those stories all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I used to get like a bit depressed. I was like, oh, you know, maybe I'm shit. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. And I think this is as well with Tim. He sort of helped me have that belief as well. It's kind of like everything that's happened to me right now, I'm like super grateful for. Even like breaking up with the missus, real shit time, but I would not change any of that. Like,
everything happens for a reason.
Exactly. Like, if they said to me at the time, I was like, fuck, this is so shit. Like, I want this nightmare to be over. Like, why is this happening? Can't I go back in time and just, you know, a few weeks and fix everything? But right now, if you said to me, go back in time and fix it, I'd be like, nah, fuck that. Like, this all happens for a reason. I'm glad. And I'm like, you know, everything that happens, you just get stronger from it. So yeah, I think that was good. But the next book probably that I've read, my third favorite, it's called The One Thing. Have you heard of that?
I've read that one as well.
How good is that?
Yeah, it's a good book.
Yeah, that's why I have like the calendar here, just to visually see what I'm doing each day and focusing on one thing at a time. So I think I actually got that book because Tim's got a list of books on his Instagram as well.
Yeah.
So he teaches you all this stuff, but then you go through his content and he's got it all there as well. And I saw that and I said to him, should I read this? And he's like, 100% read that. So I was like, all right. And I read it and I was like, far out. Like, doing one thing at a time is crazy. Like, never try and multitask ever. That shit doesn't work. So those 3 books have been the most valuable for me, for sure. 100%.
Definitely smashed Atomic Habits, bro. That was an awesome book for me.
Yeah. Have you read the 5 a.m. Club?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I just read that too. That'd probably be like, that could slip in the top 3 even as well. Like, that's pretty good.
What's that about?
And, so it's like it's really weird. There's like a couple characters. There's a entrepreneur character, there's a musician, and then there's what they call this homeless guy, and they all meet at a seminar. But the homeless guy is actually a billionaire. He's just dressed up homeless, so like he does it every now and then to bring himself down to a different level.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah. But then he's like talking to him. He's like, come away to my retreat. I've got a mentor. He'll teach you all these cool habits, blah, blah, blah. And these two are like, who is this homeless guy? But they end up going, and then they see he's a billionaire, and he starts teaching them all these habits. So he teaches them how to wake up early. He teaches them how to, plan their day, how to have self-belief. It's kind of just like, similar. I've read the blurb of Atomic Habits. It's kind of similar, just how you make habits. And if you structure those habits in your day, you can really win. And that book's all about winning the morning. So if you win your morning, you win your day kind of thing. So just after reading that, I've just got back into a habit of, trying to wake up early, trying to go to the gym early.
Yep.
It's good for the endorphins. It's good for your brain, just stuff like that. So that's what that book's about pretty much. So it's good. It's good.
Do you still do that morning routine that Tim gave you, like with the gratitude and goals and all that?
Not as strict. I should. I still try and write down stuff though. I tried to simplify it a bit though.
Yeah.
So I try and use elements of it. So I did it for a fair while and it was working really well. But at the moment, my morning routine's a bit different. I kind of switch a lot.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's just I wake up, I go to the gym, I do like a workout, and then I get on the treadmill and just walk for ages because I love walking at the moment.
Yes.
And then I get home and if I have time, I'll like try and meditate and then maybe write down some goals and stuff. But so I use like bits of everything, I guess. And I spoke to Tim about it. I was like, should I be using this strictly? And he's like, it's up to you. You just sort of
do what works
use
for you.
What works best. Yeah. And I feel like what I'm doing now is working pretty well for me. So
what time do you wake up?
About 5. I try and wake up about 5, but I'm not always as strict. It kind of depends. It's 5 or sometimes 5:30 at the latest. So it just depends what I've done the night before.
I wake up at 6 and I try to go for a walk before work.
Yeah. I think, how good is it walking like straight away?
Clears the mind and you just get to think about your day and what you're going to do. It's awesome. Fresh air.
Yeah. I used to literally hate walking, like with a passion. Like at my job, I used to do laps of the building until I got the closest park.
Yeah.
Because it was such a busy street. Whereas now I park my car miles away and I just walk and it's like so good. But so.
Do you go to many seminars in that?
No, I've only been to one. I went to a Gary Vee one.
Was that last year?
Pretty cool. When was that? Was that last year? Yeah, I reckon it was last year.
Yeah, I went to the one in Sydney, bro. That's the one who, like, it just changed what I was going to do in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your like? What were you doing with your life? And then
I was at uni, bro, studying sport and exercise science, and I didn't really like it. I wasn't passionate about it. And I seen all these business people, entrepreneurs. And I was like, fuck this, I can do this. So I dropped out of uni, started working in the family business, then vlogging, podcasting. Here I am.
Yeah, sick. Nah, Gary Vee is awesome.
He's the man.
So, yeah. Have you been to many seminars?
Started last year. So Gary Vee was the first one I went to. Yeah. Went to a few others. Do you follow Curran Ray?
I think so. Yeah. Someone else has mentioned him to me before, actually. He's Australian, isn't he?
Yeah, I follow him a lot. I've gone to his events. I've paid to go to one of his 3-day events this year as well. So yeah, it should be good. He's one of my top guys as well. He's awesome. I wanted to go to Tony Robbins this year, but I think it's cancelled. Oh
yeah, fuck, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
That'd be epic, yeah. I should go to more, to be honest. I haven't really, only lately I've sort of invested a lot into that stuff, I guess. Like the first few years I was kind of just investing a lot into the business and into stock and product, whereas now I'm more aware of, putting money into other people to teach you kind of thing.
Investing in yourself is the most important.
Yeah, and it's like people think it's a cliche, but it's not at all. It's literally so important. Like if I was to go back in time or give myself advice, it would straight up be like it's a hard, like I'd literally just say all that money you put into your sock company, just take half of it at least and put it into yourself.
Yeah,
and that other half that you think would take you further than what you could imagine.
Yeah, people see it as a waste of money. It's like, why are you paying someone else? Like, just do it yourself. But what you learn is going to triple what you're making your business.
Exactly, yeah. And like you do learn a lot from the hands-on stuff, but if you could like, you know, get someone to help you out. Like even with this new business that I'm working on at the moment, and the guy who's working with me and helping me, literally in like a day, it's all like pretty much set up almost. Like in a day or 2 days.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because he's pretty much helped me and he's set out like a checklist and he's like, all right, get all this done or get all this done for you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, far out. This would have taken me like a couple of weeks before. Like, it's just amazing how smart some people are.
Yeah.
Like tapping into other people's brains is amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking to start my own like clothing business as well with my brother. But as you said before, it's hard working with business partners.
It is, yeah.
And especially because it's my brother as well.
Different. Yeah, do you guys work with each other on the family business?
Yeah. So we see each other a lot, which sometimes is not good.
Yeah, okay. So how do you get along though? Is it good?
Up and down, brotherly love, I could say.
Yeah. Cool work.
But,
I don't know.
like, some days he's like fully in, some days he's not, because he's younger than me. So he's like, go hang out with friends and stuff. So he's not so much committed to it like I am.
Okay.
It is what it is.
You might, that's what I always found hard. I always found like I was super committed and the other person wasn't as committed. So, but I'm probably not the best person to ask for advice in regards to a business partner, but I don't know. And maybe if you could have like 60-40 or different terms or whatever.
Something to look at in the future. Just trying to design logos and stuff at the moment. Get some samples made.
So you're going to do all that yourself or the designing and stuff?
I'm doing it at myself at the moment, but I might get a designer to get a few designs for me, see what they're like.
Yeah.
So
there's heaps on Instagram, heaps of people you can get. So
you mentioned you love walking, man. Talk to me about this 200K freaking walk that you're doing, weekly goal or whatever.
Yeah, so literally at the end of last year, I don't even know how I got into it, to be honest. I just started walking. What was I doing? I literally have no idea. I can't even remember how I do some things. I just started walking. And like I was walking after work and I was like, maybe I was listening to a podcast or I was reading a book or something and I was talking about walking and how it's good for you. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just try it. Oh, actually, no, I was trying to get ripped and they were like, you know, you should walk more. and I was like, walking. I was like, nah, I don't believe that does anything. That's just like a lazy person's way to exercise. That's what I literally thought. I literally thought lazy people walk as an excuse. I'm like, I see people walk all the time and they're not fit. What the hell? I was like, fuck it. I may as well try it. So I started walking and I was like, this is actually like cool. I like this. And my brother's really like into, he studies like biology and he's really into like psychology and all that stuff. And he's like, yeah, walking's like literally the best thing you can ever do. And I was like, to be honest, you're right. Like I'm really enjoying this. So I was walking and I was just like, after work, I'd walk for like an hour or some shit, just pretty basic. And I'd listen to like a podcast or an ebook or music or whatever it was. And I was like, fuck, this is enjoyable. Like a bit of alone time. You get to think about shit. So I started walking and I was only doing a couple thousand steps a day at this point. And as time was sort of going on, I was like, yeah, I think that I'm like, you know, getting a bit more lean as well. And I'm getting some benefits out of just the fresh air. I'm starting to appreciate more things in life, like these trees look nice where I live. Nice. I'm like, wow, life is pretty good. So just kept walking. And then I moved out of my girlfriend's house and I was like kind of bummed because she's in a real cool area where I was walking around and I'm like, fuck, now I'm in, like, I don't know where to walk now. But then I found this walking track near my house. Yeah. And it's probably the best walking track in my town, I reckon. So I started walking it and I was like, fuck, this is awesome. And it's pretty long. So I just started walking further and further up the track. And then I eventually did the whole track. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to set a goal to do like 10,000 steps a day, which is like the standard they recommend to get healthy or whatever. So I started doing that and I was like, cool, 10,000 a day. I feel good. I was starting to like really trim down and get like, I wasn't like overweight, but I was I just wasn't ripped kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I used to be so ripped. Yeah, like kind of skinny fat. Like I was all last year I was trying to lift real heavy weights and I was, you know, getting stronger, but I wasn't getting ripped or anything.
Yeah.
And when I played soccer, I was so ripped and I was like, I think naturally I should be ripped. So I want to be ripped. So I started walking 10,000 steps a day and I was like, fuck, this is working. I'm getting more lean. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to up it. I'm going to go 15,000 a day. So the last probably 2 or 3 months, I've done 15,000 a day, every day. And since doing that, I've just got so like much more lean. And then my abs start popping out again. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. I look like I'm 20 again. This is amazing. So I was really loving it. And I was like, my mind is so clear right now.
Yeah.
Anytime I was feeling depressed, I was like, I'll just go for a walk. Or anytime I felt unmotivated, I'd go for a walk. And I was like, fuck, this is actually amazing. And then I read the book, Stillness is the Key, which is another sick book. That'd be in like my top 5. And there's a chapter and it talks about walking, and it literally talks about like Abraham Lincoln and all these other great minds throughout history. They just used to walk for hours every day, and like that was well known. Like people would talk about what they've achieved, but also how much they walked.
Yeah.
Just because like there's some scientific evidence between like walking in your brain and how you can be present in the moment, and when you're present in the moment, ideas come to you. And I was noticing that too. I was like, I'd be like all day working on an idea, and I was like, fuck, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I'd go for a walk, and then this idea would pop in my head.
That's like me, bro. Go for walks, ideas come in. I was like, shit, I need to start walking more.
And you know, I know, and that's what was happening. And I was like, fuck, this is crazy. Like literally the idea for a podcast, just like it was something I always wanted to do, but I didn't know what to do it on. I had no topic. I had no ideas. What am I going to talk about? Who's going to listen to me, kind of thing. And I was just walking, and the idea just like popped in my head. I was like, fucking hell, this is crazy. Like, and then I was like, all right, cool. I've got an idea. Like, what should I talk about? And then I'll just feel like, fuck it. You know what? I'm not even going to sit at my desk and brainstorm. I'm just going to go for a walk. So like, I just started walking, and I'm like, all right, all these ideas are popping to me. So I whipped out my phone. I was just writing ideas down, and I'm like, this is like the best way to work ever. I'm getting ripped. And I'm getting ideas. Like, so I just got super obsessed with walking. And then do you know that brand, Do You Even? That gym brand?
Have you seen that? Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I followed the founder and the CEO. His name's Eddie. I follow him on Instagram, and he's like huge into walking as well. And like super into fitness, of course. And I was just watching his story, and he was like, he always tracks his like food and his weight and puts progress photos up and all this stuff. It's really cool. And he was smashing his steps. He was doing like 15 to 20,000 a day. And I was like, fuck, this guy's crazy. What the hell? So I'm like, I want to do more steps. So I started upping mine till about between 15 to 20. So I'd probably be hitting like 18,000 every day. And I was like, cool. And after doing that, I was getting even more like fit. And I was like, shit, this is awesome. And then he did a 20,000 steps. No, sorry, 200,000 steps in a week challenge. And I was like, fucking hell, that's like 28,500 steps a day. That's crazy. And I just sort of watched it. He made like a video too, and I watched it, and then he sort of talked about why he did it and how far he's come. And I was like, fuck, this is cool. And then I was like, you know what? I'm in a bit of a rut right now. I was like still processing my breakup. This was before I had the idea for a new business, which is like really fresh as well.
Yeah.
I kind of went in a bit of a rut with my podcast where I wasn't like recording as much as I wanted. And I was sort of thinking to myself, fuck, man, I've been working so hard the last few years. Like, don't tell me it's all for waste and I end up just, you know, losing everything because I can't get out of this mental state sort of thing. So I'm like, I'm just going to do this challenge and we'll see how we go. So I just said, fuck it, I'm going to do the challenge. And I just started it. And the first day I woke up at like 5, got to the gym, did a workout for about 45 minutes and then just walked for like an hour and a half. And then, ended up just walking throughout the day, any chance I could. Every phone call at work, I was just pacing my office. And then after work, I think I went for a quick walk and I looked at my fucking Fitbit and I had like 33,000 steps or some shit. And I was like, fuck, I literally just smashed that target for the day, like easy. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is an easy challenge. I'm going to do it tomorrow as well. So the next day I did another like 32,000 or some shit. And then I was kind of like, fuck, this is so good. And I was feeling amazing. And like, I told a few people about it and they were like, damn, you're crazy, but like respecting it as well.
Yeah.
And you know how good that feels when someone tells you like you're crazy, but in a good way. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's it. And then I think on the third day, the guy who owns my gym comes up to me and he goes, "Fuck, man, that's like impressive." And then like some of his clients were asking me about it and they're like, "Whoa," like asking me questions. And I was like, this is kind of cool. Like, it's so weird that people get inspired by walking. Like, you'd think it was just stupid. And like, the guy who owns my gym, he actually ended up doing it. So he's just completed the challenge too. And it was just really cool that like I could do it and then he could do it. And now one of the other trainers at the gym's doing it. So it's just like inspiring one person to do it. And just for me, like mentally, it was so hard. Like, there was a day I woke up, I think it was like a Wednesday, and I literally woke up and it was like 4 degrees and like pissing down rain sideways. And I'm like, fucking, I'm about to go to the gym and walk on a treadmill for 2 hours and stare at a wall. Like, how fucking boring is this going to be? But I started learning how to like just love it and learning how to really like get in my mind and just, you know, a lot of people when they have problems, they just avoid it. Like they do like escapism, like they drink or take drugs or, you know, music even is a form of escapism. And I was kind of like, you know, I'm just going to embrace staring at a wall. And you can talk to Tim about this. He finds it funny because I always message him. Like, I always send him photos of the wall in my office at work because I got my own office and I just stare at the wall like for hours. Yeah. Sometimes I'm just sitting there like this. And it's great. Like, it's so boring, but after a while, you're not bored. You kind of just
because your mind just goes in a whole different direction.
Yeah, and you start learning how to like let your mind take you places and understanding it. And I think just doing that challenge, like mentally, it was so tough. But by the end of it, I just felt like it was nothing. Like, I feel like mentally, I was just able to go to a whole different level. And then even physically, I lost a few kilos as well. And I was like, I took a photo of before challenge and a photo after, and I could see a difference just in my abs in a week. And I was like, fuck, this is crazy. But
did you smash the 200K steps?
I got to about 206,000, I think. So I could have smashed it. The first 2 days I went crazy, like 33,000 and 32,000. And the second 2 days I went like 24,000 and then 25. So a bit under.
Yeah.
And that's because I was getting a bit sore. Like, my feet were sort of hurting a bit. I was feeling drained because I wasn't eating more and I should have been.
Yeah.
And then my housemate, he's walked like 60,000 Ks in one day once, like for a challenge. And I was like, fuck. And he ended up getting like fucking all these like shin splints and shit. And he was saying to me, "Oh, don't get shin splints." So I was like panicking. I was like, "Oh no." And then when I'm walking, I could feel like my shin's hurting. I'm like, "Oh shit, don't tell me." But then I was like, no, it's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. It's not happening. So I had to convince myself it wasn't happening. But I sort of took it easy those 2 days. And then I had to go hard for the rest of the week. But yeah, so I did it. And then sort of, since doing that, I've continued doing 15,000 a day, like as a minimum requirement. So that's like at the moment, that's my only goal of the day that I have to achieve no matter what. So
do all your colleagues at work fucking look at you like crazy, man?
Yeah, literally everyone, everyone just, like people go for walks with me on my lunch break and stuff. And now everyone just looks at me as a crazy dude who just walks everywhere. And yeah, it's pretty funny.
Are you looking to do this challenge again?
I reckon I will. I reckon I might try and, I was thinking today, like 250,000 would be pretty crazy, I reckon. I might do that if I take like holidays, or if I start like, if my new business takes off and I end up quitting my job one day and doing that full time, I'd probably have more time.
Do it for like a charity thing as well. Like people can
even that. Yeah, even that would be cool. Like, people asked me about that actually, if I was doing it for charity, and I was kind of like, no, I'm just doing it sort of for myself at the moment, just to see if I can push myself mentally and physically. And as well to get like super healthy and stuff. But yeah, for sure, I reckon charity would be cool. So I might give it a crack.
Yeah. So talk to me about the podcast. You want to give it a cheeky plug or what?
Yeah. So I got a podcast called No Regrets. So I started that a couple months ago. Basically, the idea was to get people on the podcast who I think have a really cool story, sort of similar to your show.
Yep.
And I wanted to call it No Regrets because, you know, it's like Gary Vee says, how he talks to old people and he sees like regret in their eyes. And and that's kind of where that sort of theme came from. And I was like sort of thinking, you know, there's so much as like, this was sort of after the watches died out, and I was like like I was saying before, I'd never go back and change anything.
Yeah.
And after something ends that you think's really amazing, or, like a friendship or relationship or a business, as soon as it ends and it's really shit, you're thinking to yourself, fuck, I want to go back and just fix it. But then you quickly realize that you shouldn't have to think like that, and you shouldn't, because it's part of growing you into who you are.
Yep.
So I was kind of thinking, I know a lot of people don't realize this, and a lot of people probably just dwell on trying to fix something or how it could have been, and that's why they get depressed, because they're stuck in the past so much. And I want people to realize that shouldn't be how life is. They should live with no regrets, and that's kind of where that came from. So I decided, let's do that. Let's get people who are really cool. They're killing it. They got cool stories who can inspire people. And then also let's get a mix of people as well. So people who are successful in their own right. So not necessarily like materialistic success or entrepreneurial or athletic. Maybe we'll get people who are like just got regular jobs, but they're happy. They've got a great family, because that's success too.
Yeah.
And what I haven't done yet, which I want to do, but it's kind of hard at the moment with coronavirus, is get like elderly people in, because I'd love to go into a retirement home eventually and just talk to randoms.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Have them, like imagine them sharing their story, and like all my grandparents have passed away, so I can't talk to them. But how good would it be to talk to someone? I don't know if you still, or any of your grandparents, but I'm sure if you asked them, just ask them like some stuff about their life, and if
they have the best stories, like, because I go to customers' houses all the time, like the elderly people, they just talk to you about their life, and it's like, holy shit, this is so interesting. I need a microphone with me.
Yeah, exactly. And that I've worked in a call center like for years and years as well. And the last call center I was in, it was like, a couple hundred staff. And some of the staff there, like, so I was a team leader, so I was pretty young for a team leader. I had people in my team who were like double my age, and they used to be like executives in Sydney and all this shit. And I'm like, what the heck are you doing here, kind of thing? Like, how's your life? How's that happen? Because they're not happy. Yeah. And you sort of just hear their story, and I was like, fuck, it's just fascinating how people end up where they are. And I just wanted to share that, because along life, things happen to people, and some people take it in their stride and, don't let it affect their life, and they learn from it, and other people don't. So I wanted to share both stories. So at the moment, all the episodes of my podcast have been like quite positive, and people are doing well with their life. But I am looking forward to bringing on someone who does have a lot of regrets, and it will be pretty shit like conversation for them, I'm sure, but it'd be a valuable lesson for other people listening to it as well.
Maybe those people get something out of it as well. Who knows?
Yeah, like maybe they want to share that story, or maybe it's like, maybe they've never spoken about it, and it's a way to get
it's all been bottled up.
Well. Yeah. And it's like when you share like an experience, even back to this confidence thing, even yesterday, so that 200,000 steps challenge, I made a video about it.
Yeah.
And I posted the video last night. I literally made the video, and then the software I was using, I had to buy like a license for it. So it was like $70 or some shit. Yeah. But as that happened, I literally thought to myself, do I buy this license? Do I post this video? And then I was like, you know what? No one actually cares. Surely no one cares. Like, nah, I'm not going to post it. Like, no one gives a fuck about this. And then I was like, nah, stop being an idiot. Like, you got to be confident, just have self-belief. Like, it's not about you. Who cares? If no one watches it, who cares? Just put it up and see what happens. Like, you might inspire someone. So I was like, fuck it. So I made the video, tried not to be embarrassed with it, put it up. And I've literally had people messaging me all day about it. Like, people sharing it on their story. It's had a couple thousand views on my Instagram.
Sure, that's awesome.
TV story or whatever. And I'm like, fuck, wow. Like, and imagine if I didn't post that. Like, and it's kind of going back to what I was saying, like maybe an old person who, or maybe not even old, maybe a young person with heaps of regrets. Maybe they haven't told anyone their story. And even though they regret it, if they just tell someone, they'll feel better about it because it's bringing value to someone else. So
tell you who I'd love to talk to? Homeless people.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
I'd love to know how they ended up on the streets, like who they are, like what they're planning to do to get off the streets, When
I was starting the podcast, one of the ladies at work, she was showing me a YouTube series. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a guy who does that in America. and he just has random homeless people on his show, and he doesn't even really ask them questions. He just says, "Tell me who you are," and they just talk.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, the one I watched was like a young girl who was like a prostitute, and she's talking about how she got there and how she's supporting her family and paying for her kids. And I was just like, fucking hell. Like, yeah, how do they get there? Like, it's crazy.
That's why I bought my my wireless microphone, so I could do that stuff once COVID and all that passes.
Yeah, that'd be sick. So you're actually going to do that?
I plan to, yeah, that would be hectic.
Yeah. Even like sharing their story is like amazing as well. And it gives them like a platform to feel like they are someone as well.
Yeah,
like they contribute.
They probably feel like no one gives a shit about them. They don't care.
Yeah.
And then if you go and talk to them, give them a platform to tell their story, you know, that could change their whole mindset and be like, fuck, I could actually make something of my life here, and who knows what could happen.
Yeah, exactly. And like, imagine if you went and like recorded with a homeless person, and then you went back like a couple months later and you said to him, "Bro, like this episode has like a couple hundred or a couple thousand or whatever it is, people listen to that, and I've had messages about it." Or imagine how amazing that would feel for them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, literally it could spark some new direction in their life or whatever.
Yeah, so that's what I'm planning to do. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
So outside what you do, what are your hobbies?
It's a good question. Last few years, I haven't really had any hobbies, to be honest. I'm just like, well, last year I used to do a lot of like, so me and my ex, we had 2 dogs. So I played a lot with dogs. That was last year. This year it's definitely walking. So every weekend, me and my brother or some mates, we go walking. And so I'm in Ballarat, which is like regional Victoria. And around our area is so nice. There's just places everywhere. So I just walk on weekends and try and enjoy the nature and stuff. Other than that, not too much. Watch soccer, read.
Yeah.
I like listening to music and stuff. I want to get into music eventually. That'd be cool. Got some singing lessons booked.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm going to learn how to sing one day. Funny as, but that's pretty much it, man. Yeah.
You play any instruments or not?
Nah. I tried to actually the intro music to my podcast. I made that beat by myself though, which is pretty cool.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, so I made it from scratch. Like I was practicing. Like, have you ever made music before?
No.
Yeah. Like people who listen to music would know, people who make music would know, like you can get like pre-made loops and stuff, which are like sounds. So I was doing that for a few weeks and I was like, oh, this is cool. But I was like, I want to make every sound like myself. And then I just made up that beat and I was like, cool. And just used it for my podcast. So I stopped sort of doing that.
How'd you make the certain sounds?
There's like a program, it's called GarageBand. It's just like real basic software. And you just you literally just hit keys and you like choose an instrument and you like hit keys on your keyboard and it like makes a certain sound. And then I was watching a few tutorials and I'm like, all right, if I hit this sound here and try and, so that's pretty much how I did it. Yeah.
How long did it take you to make?
It only took a couple of hours, probably 2 hours or so.
Oh, that's not bad then.
Yeah. That was my second attempt as well.
Yeah.
But since then, I haven't been able to make anything that sounds like anything. Like everything since has just been trash. So, yeah.
So, on more of a serious note, what's been your biggest struggle in life thus far, and how did you overcome it?
Far out. I had a few actually. I reckon. Yeah. Should I talk about a few struggles?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah. Okay. Probably the first one was like so when I was younger, I said I wanted to be like a soccer player, and that's all I wanted to be. That realizing that it wasn't going to happen, that was like a struggle for me. So, because literally my whole life was just that was it.
Did you have a loss of identity? Like you kind of didn't know who you were?
Yeah. And I was actually talking to my brother about this the other day, and because he's so into like psychology and behavioral patterns and biology and how the brain works and stuff, he was kind of saying like, you know, when you were younger, you were like this next soccer player. Everyone knew me as this soccer player. You were going to be this soccer player. Mum and dad, they didn't pressure me to be anything, but they were like, you know, you're going to be successful, blah, blah, blah. So then when that sort of ended, I was kind of like, fuck, who am I now? And then I've sort of been like, maybe I need to be like a successful entrepreneur. So I put so much pressure on myself as an entrepreneur. And then, you know, when those endeavors didn't succeed, I was like, fuck, who am I? And I kind of, maybe he feels like that's where that self-confidence has sort of got lower and lower, because it's like each identity I've had, it hasn't fully lived up to just yet. So sort of trying to understand that and then build on that and just understand that this is my journey. So I got to keep going. My journey is still going. So realizing that was pretty hard. Like, that you're not going to be a soccer player. So trying to figure out what to do next. But I think it was good that I found the passion of like trying to be an entrepreneur. So that's something I'm still passionate about and trying to chase. That's kind of how I overcame that, I guess, just sort of understanding that perhaps that's not what I'm meant to be, but I learned a lot of skills from it that I can apply moving forward. Like, you know, in sport, you learn so many valuable skills, teamwork and leadership and stuff. And then probably as well, probably just recently, like this year, just breaking up with the girlfriend, that was probably like really tough. I haven't really,
how long were you with her for?
So it wasn't even that long. It was probably like 2.5 years or so. So my girlfriend before that was like longer. It was like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like that was a hard relationship. Like, it was long distance as well. I did a lot of traveling. So that was hard. But with this current girlfriend, like current ex, we lived together. We had dogs together. And like, as soon as we met, I was just so in love with her, like from the beginning. Like, if I could marry her after a week, I haven't actually spoken about this publicly as well. I need to like close people. So
yeah,
like if I could have married her after a week, I would have, but that's like crazy. So I didn't, of course. I would have 100%. And like, even just manifesting, like I remember hanging out for early and I was like manifesting like, oh, I can't wait to picture myself being in that house and just working on my project and her just, you know, being upstairs or wherever, just doing her own thing. And that stuff started happening. So I was like manifesting this life together and I was like, this is amazing. That's literally all I wanted to do, was just be with her and eventually marry her and stuff.
You still have strong feelings for her?
Yeah, of course, 100%. But I'm at that point now where it's like, well, everything's happened for a reason and maybe it's just not meant to be. So, you know, it's like even that challenge helped me as well. The 200,000 steps challenge was sort of like, I spoke about it a little bit in the video where I made it. It's like, I actually said, I think it's quite word for word. It's like, when you go through extreme pain, I feel like that's, you know, like meme where there's like two guys digging for gold and one quits. Yeah. And there's like an inch away is like a gold mine and the other one keeps going. That's literally what I feel like with pain. I feel like when you're feeling so much pain or, you know, heartbreak or sadness, you're so close to something
to
amazing,
a breakthrough.
Like a breakthrough. And I felt like that challenge was that for me. It's like I was in like throughout the breakup, I feel like I've been up and down. And it was weird because I was feeling so good. I was like, yeah, I'm over this. I've moved through it. I'm feeling good. But then just out of nowhere, I just went down again. And I was like, fuck, I feel like I'm back at day one. What the hell is going on? So after doing that challenge, it helped me just get back and sort of realize it. And it just pushed me to believe that even though it sucks and, you know, I just feel like now I'm good. Like I'm good being alone. I've accepted it as being fully over for good and I can move on. So yeah, that whole breakup period was like it's probably the hardest thing that I've gone through in my life, I reckon, currently, because like I was saying before, you're just manifesting a future with this person. You've got dogs together. You've got all these new friends. You've got this great life. Everything was good. We never fought. She's got a business. I loved that about her. Very driven and stuff. And then when it sort of just ends, you're kind of like, fuck, like, where's my last year? And I remember the first few weeks I was like so depressed, saying to people, fucking hell, last year I had a business, or even a few months ago I had a watch business that was killing it. I've got this job that I'm currently doing now. Like, it's pretty cool. Like, it's not what I want to do forever, but I'm enjoying it. Like, and I had this awesome relationship. Like, my life was almost perfect, blah, 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 blah. Now it's just gone. Like, all of it's gone except for like, I've got a job still. And I was like feeling so shit. But now I'm like appreciating everything I have. And it's just, yeah, like we've been talking about, everything happens to help you grow.
Yeah.
So I've sort of just come to realize that this is what this is. This is just another part of life that's making me grow into who I am. And I'm sure if I ever see her again down in the future, who knows, I'll have like fond memories still, because I'll appreciate what happened and how it helped me sort of grow to that next level. So, yeah.
It's crazy. Like, you probably would have thought life at the time was so good, but say 12 months from now, like your life could be even better. Like, it's crazy how the world works.
Yeah, exactly. And people have been saying stuff to me like, yeah, don't worry, you'll find someone better, blah, blah, blah. And I was always saying to them, no, there's no one better. Like, no, she's best, like kind of thing like that. So like, I don't necessarily believe that like, you know, I'll find someone better, but who knows, maybe you will. But I just feel like it'll just be different. You'll just have a different life, and that's pretty much it. Like,
yeah.
So it's kind of understanding that nothing's better than, like, it's not the grass is greener on this side or it's worse on this side. It's just different.
It's just different paths, man.
Yeah, everything's just different. So who knows? Maybe the future will be better, but I won't view it as better. I'll just view it as different and appreciate that difference for what it is. Yeah. So just understanding so much of that has been really good, I think. So
yeah. So what's your why for life at the moment?
Yeah. At the moment, I think it's like, especially with the podcast and even just posting that video of the steps challenge yesterday, I think definitely just trying to inspire people is definitely a why. And the whole reason I want to do business is because I feel like, I was talking to a mate today, actually. I caught up with him and we talked about it. Like, I feel like people shouldn't be confined to a regular job, because there's so much potential that each person has. People want to be creating stuff, and I feel like when they're doing their 9-to-5 job, they just can't do that.
Yeah.
And I've always felt like that too. Like I sit in my office sometimes for hours just staring at the wall, which is cool. Like, it's cool for my mental development, but there's so much more I could be doing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm looking at the positive. Okay, I've been forced to stare at a wall, which is good, but if I didn't have to sit here for 8 hours a day, there'd be so much more I could be doing. And I just want to like use a business as like a vehicle to get me that
freedom.
I just like creating, like freedom and creating stuff as well. Like, I understand you have to work crazy hours sometimes to get successful, which I'm happy to do. But if I'm doing crazy hours, I want it to be because I want to do it, not because I feel like I have to do it.
Something you're passionate about.
Yeah, like my sort of purpose in life is you should be able to wake up every single day, and everything that you do in life is because you want to do it, not because you have to do it. Like, I have to wake up and go to my job because I have to get paid. And if I don't, I'll get like fired. And even though I enjoy my job, I still hate that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Whereas if I had my own company, I'd be waking up every day because I want to do it. And that's kind of my why. I want to just create something that I want to do every single day. And then I feel like as well, with a podcast and just sharing these stories that inspire people listen to it. And I think having a business that's successful, it's kind of like it'd be good financially, of course, to give you that freedom. But I feel like as well, it kind of gives you more credibility for more people to want to listen to you, sort of thing. And I don't know if that's like true or not, or if it's just another one of my self-doubts. But I feel like if I had, I just feel like if I had more credibility, more people would be willing to listen to what I'm trying to say. And I guess that's true, because when you do hear someone successful talk about something, you're going to take it on board.
That is
way
true.
More than someone. Yeah. So way more than someone who you're thinking, who's this guy? Like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of.
But even if you impact one person, bro, that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, true. And that's true as well. So to be honest, yeah, when I was younger, I was like, I'm going to build this massive empire and have so much money and just dominate. But I don't necessarily want to do that at the moment. Like, yeah, if I can inspire one person, like even those videos, they're inspiring a couple people. That to me, that's perfect. That's like, I'm happy. That's my purpose, like achieved. So I'm going to keep making more videos like that or more podcasts to inspire more people. And that's it. That's all I need to do. Just one person. And then, yeah, with the business, I don't want to have world domination kind of thing. I just want to build it into something that's comfortable for me to live financially with. And, you know, the goal, my financial goals would be, I'd love to have a crazy amount of money, not for myself, but just to provide for other people. So I'd love to buy my parents a house. I'd love to buy my brother a house, my sister a house. I'd love to, and like I was saying before, just get up and do whatever you want. I'd like to just wake up one day and just fly overseas without having to worry about it. Like just stuff like that.
Yeah. So that'd be awesome, bro. That's basically the same for me.
Yeah.
Just the freedom to do whatever. I want to do charities and that as well. So I want to help as many people as possible.
Yeah. Well, even in my town, they've put in like parking where everyone has to pay to use parking in town, and everyone kicked up a massive stink about it. And like my office, we all park near the office, but now we have to pay. So everyone parks miles away, which I don't mind because I'm walking so much now, but not everyone likes to do that. And like, you know, people will go onto the media about it and all this crap. And I was just saying, geez, if I was a billionaire, I'd just build a car park for free. And like, I'd just pay off the council and just let people use it for free, just so they're happy. Like, I'll just do shit like that for no reason, just, you know, because I could. And I feel like if you're going to build something that brings you lots of money, then you may as well just do whatever to help people with it. And that's kind of what I want to do as well. So
the more good stuff you do, the more good stuff happens to you as well. That's what I believe anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's it. Pretty much that's what I want to achieve. And hopefully I just don't lose sight of that purpose, because some people do and they get greedy or whatever, but I don't feel like I'd be like that. So
who do you look up to, or like who inspires you?
So I've got a few idols. In soccer, it's Lionel Messi for sure. Absolute beast. In my inspiration for the last few years has been Travis Scott.
Oh yeah.
So I just love how he's my age, 28. I just love how he's just like, especially when he made that doco. Have you seen that on Netflix? No, I haven't. The Look Mum. Oh, you should watch that. Fuck, I've watched it about 20 times, I reckon. I just love how he's like, he's so ambitious, and I feel like I'm super ambitious too, but he's got that drive and that self-belief as well. Yeah. And he's just like created so much. Like his music is just fucking dominating the world, and he's built like a theme park, and he made this crazy album, and just everything he does is just ridiculous. Like, but he's done it. Like who has a concert and has a fucking roller coaster going through it? Like he said, I'm going to do that. And people are like, yeah, whatever, man. And he's just gone and done it. Like, so he inspires me. And I don't even know how I even become a fan of his. I think I'd literally just watched him and was like, something about his energy just attracted me to it. So he's been a massive inspiration to me. And fuck, I don't even know who else, to be honest. It was Gary Vee for a while. I did like him, but I don't really follow his stuff at the moment.
Kind of repetitive though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a lot of the same thing. And the whole grind and all that stuff, that kind of made me stressed. I think I went down that path the wrong way. Whereas now I sort of like Tim Ferriss a fair bit at the moment. And he's kind of more lifestyle oriented, where he sort of tries to build a lifestyle around it. Which I like, because I feel like there's more to life than just, you know, having your head down and working. And
exactly,
like we were saying, we can go for a walk and think of an idea. Whereas like before, when I was in my Gary Vee phase, I would have been like, nah, that's lazy. Don't do that. Like you need to be sitting at your desk and just like, you know, working. Whereas now I understand, no, I can go have fun with friends and go for a walk, and something real productive will come from it without even trying to. So, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't really have too many idols at the moment, I guess. I sort of try not to, like I was super idolizing Travis Scott last year. I've got a picture of him on my wall, but but I try not to, like, I'm not really idolizing him as much now. I'm sort of trying to just work on myself, I guess, and not look up to other people, because I find that I compare myself too much. So I try and want to just focus on me and like kind of look up to yourself, I guess.
Yeah. So, where do you see yourself in the next few years?
Well, according to my goals, which I've written on my thing, in the next 5 years, I'm going to own a family home. I'm going to have a successful business, and I'll be in love again. So
Awesome.
that's what I've written down.
That sounds good, man.
So yeah, that's it. So hopefully I have kids as well. That'd be cool. So I'm 28, so hopefully, early 30s have some kids. That'd be
How many kids you want to have?
Probably just two.
Two.
I'd be happy with two. If they're 2 girls or 2 boys or a boy and girl, I don't really mind.
My missus wants to have like 4. I was like, oh God.
Really?
Yeah.
Far out. My girlfriend who I was dating in my early 20s, she wanted kids like in our early 20s. She's from a real small country town, and I was like, fuck that. Like maybe one day, but not now.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. So who knows?
So last 2 questions. When your time's up on this earth, what would you like to be remembered for?
Fuck, that's a good ass question. I sort of sometimes think about it. Like I sort of sometimes picture my funeral and what people would say, which is so like weird, depressingly weird. I guess I think people look at me as being really like, I really like to help people. So like in a few jobs I've had where I've been like a team leader or something, people have sort of known me as being that real approachable guy that they can go and get help from. Or I'm sort of that guy who's always going to, if any of my friends or people I don't even really know just reach out to me and if going through stuff, I'll always go out of my way to help them. Even the other day, I posted, so I'm a vegan, right? So I posted up something on my story about being one, and someone messaged me about it, just asking me some questions. And I sent him back this huge message and like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, do you like curries? Here's a recipe. And I just gave him this recipe and shit. And he was just like, oh, fuck, crazy. I didn't expect all this information. Like, whoa. And then I had a guy the other day ask me about a podcast. And I was like, yeah, this is what I recommend. And I sent him all these links to like products. And he's like, shit, man, I didn't expect all this. Like, thanks. So I sort of see myself as like being super helpful. And like, I think I'm pretty relaxed and chill as well. Like I've had, my family is kind of crazy. Like they always, not my direct family, but like all my cousins and shit, they like fight amongst themselves and stuff. And I've been like in those arguments, but I've never involved in it. I'm always like really chill, just on the outside trying to calm stuff down. And I've had cousins say to me, dude, you're so chill. Like how are you so relaxed? And I think I understand that like there's more to life than just getting caught in that heat at a moment. And I want people to sort of, I think when I'm gone, I want people to like look back at me as being like that really relaxed guy who was like so able to, I don't know how to put it. I want people to think of me as just being super helpful, always like doing what I could to help other people and trying to stay as calm as possible. Like just understanding there's more beauty in life than bad stuff. So like, I don't know how to put it, to be honest. Yeah. I just want, I don't know, maybe I want to be seen as like someone who started a successful company, who inspired a lot of people to do the same, and who showed people that being kind and going out of your way for other people is what you should be doing in life. You should be sharing stories and stuff like that. Yeah,
that's awesome. Before I actually ask this last question, let's touch on being a vegan. How'd that all come about?
Yeah, so my sister's been a vegan for 10 years or so, I think. A long time anyway. And my brother's been one too for about 4 or 5 years. So that was sort of like, so my sister's like, she's like a hardcore vegan activist. So she's really into like the animal side of it.
Yeah.
Whereas my brother, he was into like the health side of it. So he had like lots of bowel problems when he was younger, and he started eating like more plant-based foods and started getting all that fiber and was like feeling a lot better.
Yeah.
So then he was like saying, oh yeah, I feel way better doing it, blah, blah, blah. And he started doing all his biology and learning this and that. He was just telling me how it's good for you. So I was like, fair enough. And then, so I always listened to him, but I just sort of never fully believed him. I was kind of like, I never discredited him and said, no, that's bullshit. Like, but I was always just like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if it could be that good for you. Surely not. Like, how do you get your protein? You know, all these generic questions everyone has. Yeah. And then I know people hate that. Like, I know a lot of people hate Game Changers, that doco.
Yeah.
But when I watched that, I was kind of like, Yeah, so I don't know what you
I
thought
went
about it, but
vegan for
I
like a
spoke.
few days and I was like, nah,
Did
can't
you?
do it.
Oh, really? Oh, there you go. So you gave it a crack. Yeah, that's good. Well, a lot of people, that's good, I reckon. Like a lot of people who looked at it with an open mind, I thought was good. But I've seen a lot of people just discredit it.
Yeah.
But I think it's good because I feel like it's maybe I think there's a lot of information in there that is true, but maybe there's not as well. But I think it's just a good it's good to open your mind. So you trying
Yeah.
it's really good. How come you didn't like the foods, or you just couldn't find a variety?
Yeah. I didn't like the foods and I love meat too much.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like a lot of people are like that too. But I just found it good to just sort of open your mind a bit, and just seeing like athletes as well, because I didn't know any athletes who were like vegans. So just seeing other athletes doing it, I was kind of like, everything my sister's been saying, everything my brother's been saying, plus this doco, it's sort of all tied into one for me. And it kind of just gave me that like foundation. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do more research myself. And that's sort of what I did. So I just tried it. And I think I just straight up went vegan like that. Like you meant to ease into it, but I just went like strict, like the next day kind of thing. And I wasn't even really eating that much meat. I was eating like chicken and rice, like, you know, that standard boring gym diet. That's literally all I was eating. So when I started eating vegan, I was like putting in like lentils and like more veggies and more like, you know, I tried tofu, which I end up liking and all this shit. And I was like, fuck, I got more variety now. Like, this is kind of cool. And then, I just started loving it and feeling really good, feeling energetic, and just felt like it's been good for me. My stomach, my digestion's been really good. I haven't had any like problems with it. And I've just sort of stuck to it. And then the more I sort of looked into it, the more I sort of started getting into, I'm not like an activist or anything, but I sort of did more looking into the animal side of it too. Watched a few docos on what like the farming and stuff. One of my sister's friends actually made a really cool doco, which is called Dominion. Have you heard of that?
No.
Yeah. So you haven't, or you have?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't? Yeah. So it's like a really cool one. It's like all the factory farms in Australia. So he like helped make that. And I've met him and stuff too. And just watching that, I was kind of like, fuck, that's crazy. So yeah, I sort of enjoyed the diet. I liked the health benefits. And after seeing all that stuff, I was like, I don't think I could ever go back. So I've sort of just stuck with it. And here I am. So
you haven't had meat since? Not a cheeky burger or anything?
Nah, nothing. No meat. I think early on I was having like, what's that shit called? Pesto. Apparently it's got like cheese in it. And I didn't realize. So for like a few weeks I was doing that without realizing. And once I sort of realized, I stopped. And I think I might have had maybe 1 or 2 bits of chocolate like since, but yeah, no meat or anything like that. So yeah, it's been good.
Whatever works for you. That's all that matters, eh?
Yeah, like I don't preach it on anyone, but you know, if you want to try it, I'd definitely give it a crack. So like, it's good that you gave it a crack as well. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. So yeah.
So last question, what is your definition of success?
Yeah, it's a good one. I think like sort of what I was saying before, like success can be anything. Like if it's a person doing a regular job, but they're happy, I think that's success. So I think anyone that can be like, I think anyone that's like present in the moment and just like confident in who they are and where they're going in life, I think that's success. So someone who I've got a good example actually. The first guest I had on my show, his name's Sam Young. So on that episode, we talked about his depression and how he's come off antidepressants. And he talks about, and now he's traveling Australia, and he had a post up today saying like, there's not much else you need in life. So to me, that's the definition of success, because he's realized that you don't need anything in life but yourself. And that's it. And you can be successful and happy. So that to me is success. So all the stuff that we're chasing and all the goals we have, I think is good. It's good to drive you and to challenge you. But I think understanding that you don't actually need those goals to be happy as well, I think that is someone who's successful. So I've always looked at the light at the end of the tunnel and not appreciated the journey through the tunnel. So now I'm trying to appreciate the journey through the tunnel. And I feel like now I'm successful. Even though there's stuff I still want to achieve, I feel like I'm a success now because I'm appreciating the journey. So
learn to love the process.
Yeah.
That's what I learned from Gary Vee.
Exactly. Yeah. He talks about it as well. And it is like, people will say it's cliche, but I don't think people fully understand that. So
yeah, they're so focused on the end
success.
goal that they're unhappy throughout the whole time period. And then they don't end up reaching that goal anyway.
Exactly. And even this last 6 months to the year or whatever, I haven't been like between the watches. I've sort of just been doing a podcast as a bit of a hobby.
Yep.
Like that, if I was to go back a year in time and look at what I was doing, that wouldn't be successful to me a year ago. Whereas that whole year, this current year for me, I've viewed as very successful because I've had everything I need. So
yeah, success is always changing.
Exactly. Yeah. Just being able to understand that everything you need is literally yourself, and everything else on top of that. So if you've got good friends, a good family, a good relationship, that's all just extras. You don't actually, having all of them is amazing and like so amazing. But at the end of the day, if you're happy with who you are and what you're doing in life, then that is pure success. Yeah.
So quickly, where can people find you on social media and find your podcast?
Yep. So my podcast is on like Spotify, Apple Podcasts and stuff. So just called No Regrets. So No Regrets, presented by Kai Taylor. It should come up. It should come up if you type in No Regrets anyway. And on my social, just my Instagram, which is Kai TJ Taylor. So KY TJ Taylor. And you'll find me there. So that's pretty much it.
Well, thanks a lot for coming on, giving me your time. I think that's nearly an hour and 45 minutes that's gone for.
Yeah. So I rambled on a bit. So
that's my longest podcast.
Is it? There you go. Yeah. No, it's cool. I had fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It's cool to be able to come on and have the pressure off a bit. So I never shared my story.
Being a guest?
Yeah. So thanks for having me on. I'm very flattered. But it's cool to be able to share your story. So I appreciate that.
Cheers, man. Well, thanks for coming on, man.
Too easy. All good.